A sudden catastrophe tore through the world. A dungeon break. Countless lives were lost. He lost his parents too. He made a vow to himself. He will become a hunter. 7 years later, he was expelled from the hunter training center. A hunter? The thought almost made him laugh. Most succeeded within months, but he hadn't. The instructor stated it plainly. His allowed period had already passed, and he's no longer needed at the training center. Even after years of training, his stats did not increase. He overheard a voice behind him. How did your daddy pass away? Her father died saving people, right until the very end. That single sentence hit him hard. Sunjun turned back. He thanked the little girl and her mother, and ran forward once more. Soaked by the rain, he faced the instructor, and bowed his head, begging for one more chance. But Sunjun's words only fueled the instructor's anger. Without warning, a punch sent him flying across the ground. The man looked at him with disgust. For the first time, he truly thought about giving up. Then suddenly, a system notification appeared. Before he could react, his body was pulled in, swallowed whole by something unknown. He was dragged into an unknown void. Moments later, another system notification appeared. The Tower of Trials has selected all suitable candidates from Earth. Selected difficulty. The higher the difficulty, the greater the rewards. Sunjun didn't fully understand what was happening, but he knew one thing. This was his chance, and he decided to seize it. Before he could react, his body was pulled once again. Just then, another system notification appeared. You will enter the first floor of the Tower of Trials shortly. Then a series of notifications followed. When Sunjun opened his eyes, he found himself standing in a vast desert. He had entered the first floor of the Tower of Trials. This trial's subject was simple but brutal: survival. Upon completing the trial, a unique trait would be released. For Sunjun, this was no longer just a test. For 7 long years he had trained, endured, and been ridiculed, all for a single chance like this. He wasn't going to let it slip away. Sunjun moved at once, sprinting toward the sword. But before he could reach, the ground beneath him trembled. The sand suddenly burst apart. Something massive was rising from below. The tutorial trial will begin. From the collapsing sand, a sand golem emerged. Remaining time 9 minutes 58 seconds. Then one final message appeared. Cold and absolute. Penalty for failing the trial: death.
And then his vision darkened. He saw them. Faces looking down at him. The word dug into him like a blade. You're nothing in this world. When it came to theory, Han Sunjun knew more than most hunters in the field. He knew monsters like golems would stop moving once their cores were destroyed. His gaze was drawn to the faint glow within the golem's chest. However, such cores were usually positioned in places that were difficult to reach. Hesitation meant death. He charged toward the slope. He kicked off the unstable sand and leapt forward. The sand golem's attack missed. Its massive body followed through, losing balance as the ground gave way. Tilting forward, Han Sunjun steadied himself. He pushed himself off the slope, closing the gap in a single leap. The core came into full view. He swung his sword down with everything he had. The strike landed, but not deep enough. One more hit. Han Sunjun raised his sword for the final strike. Just as he brought the blade down, a massive hand closed around his body. But Han Sunjun did not give up. He was tired. Tired of being looked down on. Tired of running. The grip tightened around him. Pain shot through his body. Still, his eyes stayed fixed on the core. With everything he had left, he hurled his sword toward the golem's core. The blade pierced through. For a moment, everything went still. Then the sand golem crumbled, its massive body collapsing into dust. He had defeated the golem. The system notification followed. Congratulations. You have cleared the first floor of the Tower of Trials. Another message followed. As a clear reward, he had unlocked unique traits. He had obtained 1,000 points. He had earned the skill Fast Recovery E+. He had obtained 500 points. Only then did it sink in. He was still standing. He had survived and cleared the first floor. For the first time in 7 years, he was no longer a failure. Now, he could become a hunter. However, he had to survive. A black fog began to rise from where the golem fell, coiling slowly in the air. A new message appeared before him. Unique trait had awakened. Necromancy. And with it came a choice. Would you like to absorb the sand golem's spirit? Without hesitation, Han Sunjun pressed yes. The black fog reacted instantly. It surged towards him.
He used his ability, letting it merge into his body. The moment he activated it, the black fog surged through his veins. His stats increased, something he had never experienced in 7 long years. With this ability he can finally return and become a hunter. Before he could plan further, a portal materialized before him. He stepped through, arriving in a quiet space, then fell into the ground, wounded. Suddenly his wounds began to heal. He rested on the bed, staring at the ceiling. What now? Can I even escape the tower? Then a notification appeared. Commands available. Info, store, community, inventory, trials. Speaking a command activates it. He opened community chat. Panicked voices filled the screen, confused. He wasn't alone here. Besides Hunter, even ordinary people were trapped in the tower. Tane. Admin has entered the chat, the admin explained. Points are currency. Without points, you cannot obtain even water. Points can only be earned through trials. Survive well. Sun Jun clenched his fists. I must clear more trials. I need power. He knew. Hunters dragged here lost their stats too. Yet they once had skills experience. Even weakened, they could relearn faster. He was starting from nothing. Thankfully, the waiting room's healing effect allowed him to train without exhaustion. Second trial. 17 minutes 17 seconds remaining. Can I survive again? He inhaled deeply. He would survive. This time he landed in a dense forest. Second floor trial. Assassination. Objective. Kill the orc tribe leader. From the cliff he watched orcs below. To take down a tribe like this, you'd normally need a full party of E-rank hunters. Just to avoid dying, running in blindly would mean death. He needed a plan. There was a way. Fire. That was the answer. Orcs looked like lazy brutes, like pigs that lazed around all day. But in reality, they were diligent scavengers, always hunting at dawn and returning only when the sun dipped low. That meant he had time. He watched the orcs carefully from behind a tree. According to the Hunter Association, orc guards never stood watch endlessly. They would rotate back to camp to eat or rest. When he noticed several leaving their posts, he saw his chance. He set grass ablaze, forcing orcs to panic. 2 workers ran toward the river to fetch water. He ambushed from behind, killing both instantly. A guard appeared behind him. Sun Jun blocked the attack just in time, then countered swiftly, killing the guard. He absorbed the fallen guard's spirit, and his stats increased. With confidence rising, he infiltrated into the village. He had no time to waste. He moved. First the workers fell instantly, but the guard charged. Sun Jun shielded himself, just in time. The guard swung again. He dodged, then killed him instantly. But things weren't over. The orc clan leader released a powerful blast of fire toward him. Sun Jun reacted fast and blocked it. The explosion shook the ground. He was still standing. The orc chief began chanting another spell. Before the spell could form, Sun Jun sliced through the chief's arm. The chief staggered back, shocked. Panicking, he retreated into one of the huts. Sun Jun followed, slicking the door. Inside, the orc chief trembled in the corner. Beside him were 2 young orcs huddled him close, eyes wide with fear. One of them grabbed Sun Jun's leg, tears streaming down its face, as if begging him for mercy. Voices from his past flawed. Sun Jun. Live. Unexpected, the young orc pulled a dagger. But Sun Jun was prepared. He smashed the young orc's skull, killing it instantly. The chief charged with anger. Sun Jun didn't hesitate and delivered the final blow. Congratulations. Second trial cleared. He had survived. Scrolling through system information and community posts, he learned a temporary return stone exists from the 5th floor, which can be purchased and used to return to the outside world for a few days. After the 7th floor, a massive system upgrade will occur. Items that can return someone to the real world permanently are said to exist. Sun Jun's mind raced. If he returned with this power, he could become an A-rank hunter easily. The thought excited him. Either way, he had no choice. To return to Earth permanently, he needed to reach at beyond the 7th floor. He clenched his fists. He used the spirits he obtained. His stats skyrocketed. Strength, stamina, speed. The gap because of the growth was so fast that his body struggled to keep up. He opened the store and equipped new gears. He would not remain weak. He would climb higher. He entered the 3rd floor of the Tower of Trials. The subject of the trial is duel. It was a cave this time. Guardian of Darkness will arrive in 10 seconds. He tightened his grip. Like the sand golem, the enemy could come from anywhere. Guardian of Darkness has entered. A shadow flickered behind him.